Welcome everyone to our training on new base camp. Today we have the honor to welcome our trainer Tim Carlisle. He joined Toastmasters in 2015. He belonged to several Toastmasters clubs, including Evening Stars, San Francisco Downtown, Plain Talk, and Toastmaster Leadership Club in District 57. He served as a pathway guide. So talking pathway, he know it before that even. So he was a pathway guide, area director, division director, club goals director, program quality director, and district director in 2021, 2022. And he served as a club mentor and club coach chair and actively mentors and coach clubs. So he has pretty much the Toastmasters guru. You can go to him for any questions. If he doesn't know the answer, he will tell you where they find the answer. As far as I know, he's one of the most tech-savvy district leaders. He made many of these short training videos, clips that I still remember when we update this year's club officer training. And I say, how do I teach a treasurer how to file tax? And Tim said, there's a short video up there. So I inserted that in the handbook, the handout for the treasurer. So you can see all the very different ways of training us. So thank you, Tim. He also have helped with in the past contest training. If you really wonder how do I host my club and area district or the division contest, go to Toastmasters in D4TM. You can look. Actually, they're all there. So Tim has completed 2 legacy DTMs, so he knows the legacy. But also he completed over 50 pathway passes, so he knows tours. Outside Toastmasters, so Tim said actually he's a project director as SFO. So every time you go to the airport, think of Tim because he is part of a cyber team. He also work on many mission critical projects, but that's all he can tell me because it's so mission critical. He cannot tell me. But with this, he also served as the chief technology officer and national senior vice commander for his 12,000 member submarine veteran organization. With all this, Tim, the podium, the stage, all the Zoom is yours.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And welcome, everybody. So I hope not to bore you today because I think being boring training is not very effective training. I'll get right to it. So I'm going to share my screen. So everybody just bear with me here. We're going to do some of this newfangled Zoom technology here. Let me pull it right up. So here we are. We're logging, this is the Toastmasters login screen. I'm going to log in. And giga speed internet, and you can see it still takes a while. Okay, great. So we're in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go straight into Basecamp. Okay, here we are. So when you come into Basecamp, this is what you initially see. You see any paths in learning, and whoever needs to mute, if you could please do so. You see any paths that you have, which you see I have a few open, like 5 of them. And then you'll see any paths you have completed. I have some of those, and the list goes on and on. I won't bore you with that. You then have achievements. And this is a list, and this takes a little bit, even with giga speed internet. And you'll see all learning badges. And I'm going through this just so that you kind of get a perspective. I've got a few of those. And then you got certificates, so forth and so on. And yours may look slightly different than mine. You can see all earned and available to earn. Now, I only have one badge that somebody did when I was brand new. They gave me an exceptional badge, and it was just somebody testing it out, I think. If you have feedback, you can get, somebody gives you feedback here, you can request it or give it. That was something that's a little different. You can get evaluation feedback here. And then you also have resources, which has all your all your evaluation resources as well. Well, I'm going to go back to paths and learning. And I want you to get comfortable with this. And we're going to go to presentation mastery, and I'll show you why in just a second. I clicked on the presentation mastery path, and I'm going to go back to return to overview, and I'll show you why in a minute. This is what you get when you come in initially. You'll see something like this. Now, when you first
Tim,
come,
excuse me, I wonder if you can increase the size, get rid of all that white space on the right.
sure, is this better?
Yeah, that's better. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Gretchen. Appreciate that. Okay, one other thing I need to bring up, when you first come into this the very first time, even if you've been in Toastmaster for a while, there's a series of questions it will ask you with regards to your preferences, email preferences, what you want to see. You want to see marketing emails and different questions. Just to answer those questions as needed and based on your preferences, and you won't see that again. So when you look at this and come in here, we'll go to level 1. I believe I've completed level 1 on this. Or no, I have not, but I've completed the projects. So when you look at the projects, you'll see all of the projects have these green check marks. But when you see a check mark that is not green, that means that this is not completed. So I'm going to show you what a level 1 completion looks like. So you click on the level 1 completion as an example once you've completed all the projects there. And so it says I have completed it. My bad. I've got to wait on somebody else to check me off, I guess. Let me go back to get back here. And then you can go and see I've done a lot of this work already. Boy, I've just been a busy bee. So let's go into the level 4 here. So we'll just pick this project and just say managing a difficult audience, because all the projects, regardless, this is a required project. I'm going to this one just so that you can see how different it is. Now, if you've been in Toastmasters and using a pathway system for a while, I would really recommend that you do this and look at it completely newly, because they revamped a lot of this, and go through this like you're doing it for the first time. Now you can download any of these assignments here in the PDF version should you choose to do so, but just go through it, and we're going to click through the project so you can see it. You click next. It gives you the introduction, what your assignment is about, understanding the role-playing version of this. You'll click next, and then it says no. What do you know? Do you know you can recover after being interrupted? What is it you already know? What do you wonder? Do you wonder how you could diffuse it? And it's different for all of us. So you put in what you would like to understand, and then here's what the competencies are. In the past, this was structured very differently, but I like the way they've structured it here, and they give you an opportunity to learn more things in a different way, which I think is really well done. Now, it gives you all of these different types of folks that are going to be the people that cause you challenges when you do this. So if you click on the interrupter, they may be somebody who believes they have something to contribute. They want to agree, disagree, or make another point. And you click on these tiles and they give you information when you click on the tiles. You then complete that, go to next. And then it says you can click on the interrupter and it gives you more information on what you can do and what strategies you can use to help them. Again, it's just how you keep them on task and help them stay engaged, but not let them sidetrack the training you're providing. It has a video that you can watch, it's 4 minutes long, and it gives you 3 or 4 questions that you can answer so that you can learn to better your skills in that regard. Then it says review and apply. What's one method for each of the different types of difficult audience members? Describe the difference between professional and unprofessional behavior. Yeah, maybe asking them to commit ritual suicide is not a good thing. I'm just saying. What's a better strategy for diffusing a tense or intemporal situation? How do you recognize when someone's being disruptive, even when it's subtle? All of those things are things that gives you an opportunity to show your level of understanding of the material. And that's just for you to learn and demonstrate your expertise in absorbing the information.
So Tim, I have a question. So
Sure.
really, as you said, it's really from my reflection. So if I decide to be lazy, I can choose not to put anything to reflect there.
That is correct. You can choose to do that, but it's like anything. If you don't do any of that, you won't get as much out of it. And this is why I suggest that you put more into it because you want to get the maximum value out of this. I mean, think about it. I've done 50 some icebreaker speeches. Wrap your head around how hard it is to come up with something new after doing something more than 50 times. That takes some real effort. It's the same thing with any other project. Find a way to look at it differently. Find a way to kind of look at this completely differently and grow your knowledge. Whether you've done it twice or 500 times, there's always something new to learn. Find a way to grow your skills. That's what matters the most, at least in my opinion. And then you have this role play assignments, and you have to, in this project, have your Toastmaster do some more work in advance because they need to have the time to assign people each of these roles and give them this worksheet. And then once they've done that, you make sure the VP or Toastmasters assigned all the disruptors. You don't know who is doing it, and then your job is to handle all of them. And then it talks a little bit about how you're scored. And then you click next. And then you can look as you go through, here's what you knew, and then here's what you felt you learned. Then you can enter your speech details here, the title, the date, your club, who your evaluator was, and you can save it in a log, or you can save an email and it will email the evaluation resource because there's a whole list of them here. And you can send this to your evaluator, save and email it to that person automatically. And then they have the digital online evaluation and they can just send it and you'll receive it as well. This gives you all that information. It tells you receive your evaluation, assess what you've learned and reflect upon it. Then all you have to do is click complete and then confirm. You mark it complete and confirm, and then you're done with the project.
Tim, I have a
Okay.
question.
Yes, please, go
So
ahead.
talking about emails, for example, when my evaluator, I can do the system, when my evaluator get an email, will be go to the exact email box that they dictated in the system. And then when you receive the email, will be something to, they have to log into Toastmasters International into their own account and do this, or they can just in the same email platform
in that email, they can click on that email and then, yes, and I believe that if I remember correctly, I haven't used the online email, but I believe they can just click on that and they may have to log in and they can then submit that evaluation form and it goes in through the online system as I understand it. Mary or anyone, is that correct? I just want to be certain.
Oh, Gretchen, have you tried the email?
No, I haven't. But my understanding is that the email goes to the person and then the person is offered a chance to
Yeah.
do the evaluation online. And then I believe it then gets sent back. A notice gets sent back to the person.
Yes, that is my understanding also. I think it all has to go with that log version, that save log version. It comes back to you in that format. So
So the assessments, Tim, before, when you say what you know, what you wonder about it, and the ones after, are those required like before?
no, it is not. No, it's not. You don't have to put in the no, wonder. No, it's not. Those are not required. You can just next, next all the way and hit complete confirm, and it shows the project is being done if that's what you choose to do.
But then you're not learning as much as you can.
That's right. And that's kind of the point is, are you checking the box or are you trying to really get the knowledge? And either way, it's going to show up one way or the other. I mean, to me, I've been asked a lot of times, why do you keep repeating these paths over and over again? And it's because I get more value out of it each time that I do it. I don't do it just to say, oh, I've done the most or whatever, even though it may be true, but I do it because I bring more and more value every single time I do it. I get better and better in my presentation skills. I become a better, more authentic speaker, and I communicate more clearly what it is that I want people to understand. And to me, that's what matters. Just saying. Okay. Enough of that stuff. Let me go back to where I was. One moment. Okay, great. So that's kind of in my mind what things look like in a path.
Tim,
Now,
there's one thing that I think is important to point out is that with the electives, if you go in.
yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. I'll go right there,
okay.
and that's a great point, Gretchen. Thank you. Okay, when you get to levels 3, 4, and 5, and I'm going to level 4 as we speak. Let me get to the old return to overview here. Levels 3, there's 1 required speech and 2 electives, and it's been this way for a long time. And you can see that in this, I show that. But when you get to level 4 and 5, there is 1 required and 1 elective. So when you go to electives, in this case, you have to read the print pretty good. And here's what it says. Choose at least 1 project as required for this level. So I'm going to choose managing an online meeting. You could choose more than 1. I choose 1 because that's what's required to complete the level. So I'm going to choose managing an online meeting. And once you've chosen the elective or multiple, if that's what you choose to do, depending on which level you're on, you hit submit. And then I'm going to go out to level 4. I should have gone out to level 4. I didn't do that. And what that's going to show you when you've done that is it will show you the Managing a Difficult Audience project. And then it will also show you the project Managing an Online Meeting. And the reason that that's or maybe it won't. One sec, let me get there.
While we're waiting for the thing to turn, I do that really the Toastmasters International, they are fully aware because everyone complained the speed. Even Tim had the gigabytes with the internet, it is slow. And this slow has been observed everywhere in the world. So we're told they're working on this.
And
Well-
before, it used to be very clear before in the overview, how many electives were required for
Yeah,
a
it's
given
not
level.
here.
Now,
Yes,
as Tim pointed out, it's just written in text in there under the electives. That's the only place you can see how many are required.
correct. So
It-
you can
it's
see
very
here that
hidden.
you've
Yeah.
got Managing a Difficult Audience and Managing Online Meetings. So yeah, you just got to be very mindful of that. Level 4 and 5 is one elective. Level 3 is 2 electives, and you have to select them. Okay, and then when you finish that, remember there's also the Reflect on Your Path and Path Completion to fully complete the path at the end. So I want to make sure that we have an opportunity to answer any questions. And I know that Joy's helping it, but I see Sheila has a question about, can I do as much as electives? Well, you can, but the question, and that's something that's you can do that if you choose to. But one of the things that we do in Toastmasters is to achieve the Distinguished Toastmaster goal, you have to complete 2 complete learning paths. Now, you can complete all the electives you want, but that doesn't help you hit those 2 complete learning paths necessarily. So it's up to you what you want to do. And you could do whatever it is that you want to do, but I would get the 2 complete paths done and then do whatever you want to do. I just like doing the paths because I felt like I wanted to learn all I could do. First, I did all the paths, then I did all the projects so that I could get the world of it all. And there's lots of paths that only have very specific electives. One of them, there was only one path that has cross-cultural communications, I think. That was a mistake. There's also there's a couple of different paths that only have one either required project that's like that it's only in one path, and I'm just like, why would we ever do that? But that's how it is. So
Yeah,
yes, sir.
I got a question. You said you have to complete 2 paths.
Correct.
Could you explain a little bit more on that and say, once you complete the 2 paths, what do you do after that? Are you getting credit or not? Because I've completed 2 on my 3rd right now.
Right. So yes, you can do that 3rd or 4th path for subsequent Distinguished Toastmaster Award should you choose to. And that also will help your club hit their Distinguished Club Program goals. Does
Well,
that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. But what doesn't make sense is that you say you have to complete 2 paths. Why did you bring that up?
I brought that up because, well, if you choose to become a Distinguished Toastmaster, that is one of the requirements.
That's one of the requirements for each member?
Yeah, well, if you want to become a Distinguished Toastmaster, there's a list of 7 different requirements that you would need to complete.
Got you. I got you on that.
Okay. And I can give them to you. I know them off the top of my head, but
I know them too, but you just threw me
Okay.
off with completing those 2 paths. That's all.
Sure. And I do want to also let you know that there's a question in the chat that Mary answered. And Liz from Civic Center asked, can you skip around on the projects? And he answers, absolutely. If you have something at work or in other things that you do that align and gives you opportunities to do projects like managing projects or high performance leadership projects or distinguished Toastmaster, whatever it is, I mean, go for it. But realize that the way that that's structured is you have to complete all the projects in level 1 and complete level 1 before you can complete level 2. You can have all the projects done. And if you looked at the example that I showed you, say here, you can see I have all level 1 stuff done, level 2 stuff done, level 3 stuff done. And I'm waiting for someone to approve level 1, and then I'll get level 2 approved and then level 3 approved. And sometimes that's how it goes. So it's not a problem. You just have to do it. And, it's better if you can just get somebody on the phone. You can go zip, 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 and you're done. But that's just how it rolls on occasion.
And so you can come in, Sheila, to a new path and go to a level 3 elective and do that. You don't have to complete anything else. It's just you won't be acknowledged as completing level 3 until you've completed level 1 and 2, but you can slot and complete that anything anywhere right when you come in.
Drives me crazy because the ones that drive me nuts mostly are the level 2 project, leadership, communication, and mentoring. I mean, icebreaker, yeah, I got to think I'm something new. The rest of them are really easier for me. And then, because they can be about absolutely anything. But, 50 speeches on mentoring, think about that. It's like, I've run out of people to talk about who've mentored me. I have to come up with new and unique ideas. But, it's also, to me, that takes more creativity than half the stuff. But I also get that, that to me, that's kind of the fun because you really got to think outside the box. I also really enjoy because there's always, and some of the things I do, it's good to really look at some of those projects like podcasting or blogging. Those things are really good to start on at the very beginning of the year because it takes time to complete them. Same with the level 5 projects. Volunteering or leading in any situation where you have to lead in a volunteer organization for 6 months, or you have to get 360-degree evaluations as part of your leadership in 6 months. All of that stuff takes quite a bit of time. So that's a good thing. If you're going to try and complete a level 5 project, you start that in the early part of the year, and then you can get to that point when you're done in the middle towards the end of the year, and you're setting yourself up for success. So you start things in the beginning. Like I started a high performance leadership project the beginning of this year. I had a meeting at the beginning. I have a meeting in January, and then I'll have a meeting in probably about March or April or May. And I did it that way because I actually belong to a club that's their specialty is high performance leadership projects. That's what they specialize in for their district. And I just want to see how that goes to see if I can survive. So far so good, but it's not over yet. You learn, yeah, go ahead, Gretchen.
Oh, I was just going to say, one of the things that tripped me up early on, I completed level 1, and then I was getting ready to complete level 2, and I didn't realize that Toastmasters doesn't recognize my completion of either of those until I do that extra project at the end. So there's that extra review your path project that has to be done before it's acknowledged as completed with Toastmasters International.
Oh, complete. Yeah. Reflect on your path at the end. Yes,
Yes,
that is correct.
yes.
You know, the other thing is, and Mary so kindly reminded me, is you can use things as contests, potentially as projects. Now, I wouldn't really recommend a club contest as much for a level 5 project, but you could maybe a managing successful project would work. But for an area contest or a division contest, those are great projects to use for like a area division or even a district level contest. I think my first DTM project I did was the district speech contests. And I mean, you know, that was a long time ago too. Still haven't claimed that one yet, but I'm working on it. I've done like 7 of them. Go ahead, Joy.
To follow up with Mary's comments, actually, to try to motivate your speakers in your club doing this contest, because every time you represent either club level, area level, or they do the rehearsal, they can count that as a speech, right? They can write speech with purpose, vocal variety, body language. Basically, each time when they do this, they can kill 2 birds at a time. One is get ready for the contest. Secondly, complete pass project. What do you think, Tim?
Well, yeah, that's a good idea. You know, one thing I did when I was a program quality director, I'm sure Gretchen will remember this, is every time somebody trained for me, I gave them a evaluation for being a trainer, because that was question and answer, one of the pathways projects. I asked them what they needed, because then it took 10 people to put on a club officer training, 10 evaluations. We had 6 divisions. We had probably 2 or 3 trainings times 2 a year. It added up being like an extra 120 projects that people in the district completed. And that was enough to make a difference in enough clubs to help people hit their DCP goals. And we did pretty well that year. So something to keep in mind. Anything to help move the needle forward, you know, is always important. And it helped clubs and it helped the district and helped areas, and people became distinguished, and clubs, and everybody wins.
I forgot
So,
about that. Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty good at that, huh?
Yeah.
So
So,
I put my email down there. Anyone of you want to do a club officer trainer, let me know. Because when you do this 1 hour, 1 hour and 30 minutes, you can fully complete that. There are a few projects on Pathway. One is really, I guess, panel discussion. I believe manager panel discussion, something like that. Yeah, fully qualified. Go ahead, Tim.
well, anybody who is a trainer didn't even need a big panel, question and answer, you know, talking to a panel discussion, you know, moderating a panel if you're leading a panel at a TLI. There's so many different projects you can do. So there's lots and lots of different things you can do to help people. And yeah, and you know, I mean, it's like, I mean, we just made a lot of hay with that. I talked about that. I came up with that idea when I was meeting with with my region advisor and all the districts, and we had a past well, Lark Doley was, I think, she was the immediate past president, and she thought it was a pretty good idea too. So I guess that means I made some sort of smart idea somewhere. But anyway, enough of that. What other questions can I answer for anybody? I mean, we're kind of at about the 40-minute point. I'm happy to answer your questions, show you anything you want to see. I'm got some messages in the chat. Yeah, managing projects successfully is a level 4 that could be used as a a contest chair. Usually contest chair and Toastmaster and a club contest should be the same. Yeah, there's a lot of different things you can do. I know that when I was PQD and district director, it's like I had a little stump speech every time we had training. Each one of the trainings, we normally had the district director speak, and when I was PQD, I spoke for the district director. So I had a little stump speech. And it was no secret. I completed 11 paths both those years. The reason was I had lots of time and opportunities to speak, and I maximized it, and I made sure a lot of clubs got a lot of stuff. So making sure that you're giving those opportunities and helping people is really where it all starts. And if you're having the opportunity to, help your trainers, I just thought that was a great way to give back. Being a trainer, yes, they get credit for training when they're training you, but a lot of times they're training you in something that they're not in that role that year. So here's a great way to help them out and thank them for something they're doing for you. Any questions about anything we've talked about so far? Anything else you'd like to see? Don't all speak at once. Yes, Joy.
If no one object, I wonder, because we have 2/3 of club officers here. I wonder if they like to hear about the manager, the pathway
Yep.
manager.
Ready.
Okay.
Here we go. Okay. So let me get back to where we need to be. Okay, so up here in the right-hand corner, you'll see Basecamp Manager. Okay, and unlike having to go in and out of that, it's not as much of an issue as you might think. So, you can filter. This is approvals, member overview, and you can select a club. And I have 3, I'm VPE for 3 clubs. It'll pick Evening Stars for an example. And it shows a member overview for different people. Oh, yeah. Oh, there's me. And then you have completed paths, last speech. You can go to paths in progress, and then you pick a club. We'll pick the same one. It takes a little bit for it to go through. And then it shows how many projects have been completed for each level and the current path progress. Yeah, the reason it's still spinning because I work on several paths at a time. For me, I find it helpful, but that's just how I do things. So
I believe it's slow for everyone, especially if
it's really slow. Yeah, well, you know what the problem is here, if you want to talk about this from a technical perspective, is see this, I told you I was slowing it down. That's mostly Aubrey and I. She's got 3 paths open and I have about 5, I think. So actually more, it shows some other stuff that I've got going on. But yeah, so it shows where people are in different areas. The reason that there's slowness here is most likely the fact that they don't have enough bandwidth allotted. It's not as elastic as it needs to be, is my guess. Somebody else can speak to this. I'm not super duper heavy in the cloud, but if they don't have enough bandwidth allotted, it slows down, and it's also dependent on the amount of people that are using this system. But this gives you some things to look at with regards to approvals, and member overview, what paths are in progress, any recent activities, and you again can select by club. And then it shows that on the 5th, I submitted level 5. It was approved by Andrew Jimenez. And then in presentation mastery, I submitted level 1, and he's still slacking. It's 2 days later and he hasn't done anything. I'll get on him about that. If you go back and you click over here where you see this, then you can go to my clubs, and then it will list people in your clubs. And then you can actually go into people and look at their individual stuff, view their profiles, and see where they actually are. Should you choose to do that, it's really up to you.
So Tim, can you answer this question? I think it's always helpful for the recording if you read it out the question, then in the chat.
Yes, okay, and Basecamp Manager and approvals are for level completion. Yes, that is in Basecamp Manager, that is for level completion or for entire path completion. I don't believe, and I'll let me check with Mary, I don't believe we can improve our own. In the old system, technically you were able to do it, but I want to also be very clear that any officer can approve a level or a path completion. You cannot improve your own. And that's something that's different from the old one. Now, we don't need to submit them in like we used to in Club Central. You can't submit your own, you can't approve your own anymore. It's all one step now. So somebody else has to submit yours and approve yours. But it's a one step, and that eliminates doing audits of this, which we even had a little video on how to do that, because clubs would forget to do that, and we'd find clubs that went from July 1, they had nothing, and then July 10th, they had hit all of their distinguished club goals because they'd forgotten to do it the year before. So
yeah, you don't have to do that anymore because you're actually picking the club yourself, so they know which DCP chart to put your credit in.
yes, one thing to realize that's real important is that, you know, all officers can approve these things, but you need to be real careful with that. And I'd really recommend that you talk to your vice president of education before you approve levels, because that is really their responsibility unless they're submitting it. And you know, that is something you should do. It's I saw Sheila's message. You said, should you submit level 3 completion if you want to do some of the electives? Well, it depends on whether you feel like your club needs it. If you want to do some of the other electives, you've completed 2 electives and a required one. If your club needs it to hit their goals, you should do that whatever you and your club have agreed upon. But, you know, if you want to do more electives, that's up to you. It depends on what you've agreed upon with the team. So, yes. And that's something that you should discuss with the team of officers. You know, I mean, you know, when we have our little club success plans, which is really nothing more than a thinly veiled, disguised strategic plan on how to be a great Toastmasters club, I recommend that you have those discussions. And if you're signed up to hit those goals by a certain date, if you want to do other stuff, as long as you're going to meet that goal, that's up to you. But
yeah, Sheila, the electives are the same for all the paths. So the project you're seeing in the one you're in, start a new path and put the credit in that new path instead.
So if I'm hearing the correct, basically Gretchen and Tim, you're saying there are so many overlaps between each path. So not each path is a very distinct, unique electives. So my question,
Yeah.
does anyone try to do kind of almost like a checkerboard one? I compare 6 different projects and all the things they offer. You see what I mean? So I know that I can 6 times I can visit the exactly same elective.
Yeah, it just depends. I mean, I can do connect with storytelling, connect to your audience on any project, anywhere, at any time in my sleep. But what fun is that? Do something different, stretch your comfort zone, you know, do it in a different path. I mean, now doing some of the engaging humor practical ones is fun. And I mean, I think it's really up to you. And thank you, Rosalind, for joining. I appreciated it. It's different for everybody. There are different things you can get to look at, but I like the idea of, just make it kind of an adventure. Yes, there is a podcasting project. Again, it takes some time to do. I've done that one. It's pretty fun. But it's not, if you're looking to complete that, it's going to take you a while. Thanks, Navneet, for coming. I appreciate it. It's you gotta look at the time commitment that you have to do that. If you want to do the podcasting one, start early in the year. If you're committed to completing level 4 before January, you better start in July. If you're committed to completing it by March or April, you might want to start early.
So it's a really good thing to have people review the whole path so that they know what they're in for in the later projects that take so much time.
Yeah. Plan what you want to do. Go through each project, find something that you haven't done and do it. That's what we're doing. We're a self-development program. Grow what you can do. I did 2 legacy DTMs. We had these manual things, right? I didn't do, when you get to the advanced manuals, I think you had 2, if I remember right, I can't remember how many advanced manuals there were anymore. You did 2 advanced manuals for the 3 different levels. I never did the same ones ever because I wanted to grow my knowledge. So I did 2 legacy DTM. That was like 12 of the manuals. I think that was most of them. Because I wanted to learn, I wanted to improve, I wanted to grow my skills. Same thing with this. Do them all. And yeah, the manuals were good, but this is better because this expands your worldview far better than the manuals. Many, many more opportunities and many more relevant topics. The old things that we did, you got 1 or 2 pages to discuss it. I looked at the icebreaker PDF, it was 26 pages versus 2. Which do you think you had the opportunity to learn more from? And people said, oh, we had this competent communicator. If you look at that, you can go through presentation mastery. Every project was in there if you looked at it the way I did. Every project in presentation mastery, I could map it back to the CC manual. So people say, oh, the old way was better. Well, no, it wasn't because the old way hadn't been updated in about 40 years. I did the old way too. Old way, new way, whatever. Yes, sir, Melvin. Question?
No, I'm just saying I'm old school too.
Oh, yeah. I'm old school, but sometimes we have to change with the times. And it's a good thing. I mean, it's like those, it's like don't get stuck. And we have to continue to grow. We have to continue to learn. And it's like that's just how it goes. I'm always one for learning because I want to grow. I want to be better. I want to be better today than I was yesterday, and I'll be better tomorrow than I was today.
I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Brand new member, do you recommend them to take the personality test to end up one, or you just recommend them a pathway?
Presentation mastery, period.
Okay, thank you.
People join Toastmasters to better their public communications. Number one reason. Presentation mastery is strictly public speaking and communication. The rest are all communication and leadership. That one's their primary focus. If you can get through that path, the rest will be more of the communication and leadership mix that you want. Unless you have some very other different specific things, like you want to be a stand-up comedian, then you should do engaging humor. But that gives you the building blocks. I know we're coming up on time, so I just want to be mindful of everybody's time. Anything else? Okay. Yep. Sorry. Bye from SF, Robert. Thank you. Sheila has a question. I'm on level 4 presentation mastery, looking for another path. How to select? You know, there's a lot of good ones. Persuasive influence is pretty fun. It has a high performance leadership project, which requires you to really look at how you lead in a guidance committee, which I find insightful. And that's the only current path in the new version where they've kind of changed and narrowed it down. It depends. Look at the past and think about what would stretch you the most. If you don't think you have a sense of humor, do engaging humor. If you want to expand your communication, maybe visionary communication is for you. Motivating others, maybe motivational strategies. I mean, I did the team building project. I took people to one of the Sandbox VR. We did the VR stuff. I paid for it and took a group of people. They had a blast. So if you haven't done that, I highly recommend it. I had them fill out a form. I did it with family. I did it with other people. Everyone really enjoyed it. So
Sorry, what is that, Pat? Sorry, what is that, Pat?
that one was, I think, motivational strategies, and it's got a team building project, and it's a required one. And I did them all too, bunches of times, and had way too much fun with all of them.
So the paths, the way to choose a path is a little hidden. When you come into pathways, there's the box that says go to base camp. The one just to the right of it, if you click that one, it's sort of a generic thing, then the path option will come up, choosing a path.
And if you belong to more than one club, I don't ever do one path at a time. I always do at least 2 and usually more. Because I can ladder up as I go. That way I don't ever get stuck. I can only do one. Okay, so selecting a new path. That's the request. And we're almost out of time, but I'll try and give it my best level shot here. 1 second. Here we go. Let me get back to where we need to go. Go back to pathways. Let's see. Trying to remember, I think I'm going to have to get out of pathways and go back to Toastmasters. Let's see. Okie dokie. Drives me crazy. 1.2 gigabits down, and this is how it goes. Okay, let's see.
The Learning Hub. It's under the Learning Hub.
Yeah.
That's
Okay, so you go to Learning Hub, choose a path, select English. I don't know. I'm not brave enough to give. You can either take an assessment or view path options. I just view path options. And then it gives you a little
Thank you,
And you
Larry.
can, yeah, this gives you the options.
Perfect. You pass the test, Tim, with flying color.
Nah, I won't pass the test. Let's see. Heck, I can't even pick a path. They're all grayed out. Lucky me. I'm in the middle of all of them, so.
Okay, yeah, great. But thank you. This is because I don't know the answer, truly.
Yeah, that's how you get there, and then you can nuke it from there, nuke it out from there.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, we're top of the hour, but thank you, Tim, for all of your help. I learned so much, and
Thank you,
for
Tim. That was
time.
great. Really great.
Yeah, yeah. So
All
hope
right.
everyone else had a fun time
Like
too.
always.
And, yeah, always. We all had such good time. Okay, we will show appreciation with that. I
Well,
just
thanks
stopped the
for coming.
recording. Thank you, Tim. Have a wonderful, don't see you, have a wonderful holiday, and we'll come back January again. Okay.
All right, everybody. Have a great one.
Everyone.
One
Okay,
love to
bye-bye.
all.
Bye-bye.
All right.